said it like you meant it, like I was all you had. But truth was in the silence you never thought I'd catch. I noticed in the distance the way you pulled away, but I kept choosing trust while you chose to betray. I gave you something honest, you gave me something else, a version of forever that only served yourself. You turned love into a lesson, something I had to survive. Now every word you ever said feels like another lie, and I was giving you my heart while you were letting it fall. You turned love into a lesson, and I learned it all. I see it clearer now, and everything you hid, all the little secrets and the things you never did. You made it look so easy, like nothing had to change. While I was holding on to us, you were rearranging names. You didn't break me loudly, you broke me piece by piece, until I couldn't recognize what we were supposed to be. You turned love into a lesson that I never asked to learn. Now I'm left with all the questions and a heart that still burns, and I kept trying to believe in something that was gone. You turned love into a lesson while I was holding on. Was it worth the moment to lose something real? Did you ever stop to wonder how this would feel? Or was I just a chapter you were ready to replace, while I was building something you couldn't face? You turned love into a lesson, and I'm learning how to let go of everything I thought we were, and everything I'll never know. And I won't keep holding on to what you chose to destroy. You turned love into a lesson, but I'll find something more, a lesson I didn't want, but one I won't forget. We used to run without thinking where the day would take us next. Every small thing felt like magic, we never second-guessed. But somewhere in the distance between then and today, something quiet started changing, and I didn't see it fade. I thought growing up was simple, just getting older slow. I didn't know the hardest part was what you lose to know. I didn't know goodbye was so close, hiding in the things we loved, and every laugh we didn't know with us. And I keep chasing pieces of a world that's out of reach. I didn't know goodbye was so close when it was next to me. The streets feel a little quieter than they used to in my mind, like childhood left its footprints and forgot to leave a sign. I see it in the photos, in the way we used to be, like innocence was something that slipped away from me. I never saw it leaving, it didn't say a word, it just slowly disappeared before I knew it hurt. I didn't know goodbye was so close in every moment we held, like growing up was just the start of learning how to feel this well. And I'm still holding on to what I can't bring back to life. I didn't know goodbye was so close until it said goodbye. Maybe nothing stays forever, not even who we are. Maybe growing up is just collecting little scars. And I don't blame the ending or the way it had to be, I just didn't know goodbye was growing inside of me. I didn't know goodbye was so close, but I feel it everywhere. And all the things I used to love that are no longer there. And I won't keep chasing echoes of a world I can't return. I didn't know goodbye was so close, but now I've learned goodbye was already here. I thought we were the same, moving at the same pace, but I was the only one trying to keep this safe. You said we never change, said we find a way, but your words started fading while mine chose to stay. I kept fixing all the pieces you left fall apart. Didn't see I was the only one fighting for your heart. I didn't know I was the only one trying, holding us together on my own. Every time you started letting go, I pulled you closer even when you didn't know. And now I see clearly what I couldn't see before. I didn't know I was the only one trying, till you stopped trying anymore. I read between your lines, but they stopped making sense. Every will be okay felt like a pretense. You were slowly leaving while I stayed the same, holding on to something you had already changed. I gave you all my effort, every piece of me, but love can't be a one-way road, no matter how deep. I didn't know I was the only one trying, building something all alone. Every promise that I held on to was something you had already outgrown. And now I feel the distance in every word we don't say. I didn't know I was the only one trying, till you I stop for a second, would you even notice me? Or would silence be the answer to everything I try to be? I was giving you my all while you were letting go, and I didn't see the ending till it started to show. I didn't know I was the only one trying. Now I'm learning how to let go, even if a part of me still doesn't wanna know. And I won't keep chasing something that's already gone. I didn't know I was the only one trying, but now I'm moving on. I was the only one holding on. You still said all the right things, but they didn't feel the same. Like something in your voice had quietly changed. I kept looking for a moment where everything made sense, but love was slowly fading in your silence. I thought it was just distance or something we'd get through, but the truth was in the quiet. I wasn't seeing you. I didn't know when you stopped loving me, there was no clear goodbye, just a slow disappearance hidden in your eyes. And I kept holding on to something I couldn't see. I didn't know when you stopped loving me, but you stopped loving me. We were still together, but it felt like I was alone, talking to a version of you that I didn't know. I replay every memory, trying to find the end, but love doesn't always break, it just slowly bends. I wish there was a moment I could point to and say, that's when everything we were started slipping away. I didn't know when you stopped loving me until there was nothing left, just empty conversations and a quiet regret. And I kept pretending we were still the same. I didn't know when you stopped loving me, but I feel it now in the pain. Maybe love doesn't leave all at once, maybe it fades in parts until you wake up one day and it's gone from your heart. And I don't blame the silence or the way it had to be, I just wish I knew the moment you stopped loving me. I didn't know when you stopped loving me, but I understand it now. Not every ending is spoken, some just don't tell you how. And I won't keep searching for something I can't see. I didn't know when you stopped loving me. Now I'm setting me free. promise that neither of us questioned, like forever was a word we didn't have to mention. But somewhere in the silence, you slowly pulled away, and I kept standing in the same place, hoping you would stay. I felt it in the distance before I understood that love can slowly disappear, even when it's good. I stayed even when you didn't, held on when you let go, kept believing in a feeling you no longer chose. And now I'm standing at the ending of everything we were. I stayed even when you didn't, and that's what hurts the worst. You stopped saying all the things that made me feel at home, and every quiet moment left me more alone. I tried to keep us breathing when we were losing air, but love can't stay alive if only one is there. I wish I saw it sooner, the way it slipped away, but I was too busy hoping you'd find your way back to me. I stayed even when you didn't, gave more than I could keep, built a world around your absence and called it something deep. And now I'm letting go of everything we couldn't be. I stayed even when you didn't, now I'm choosing me. Maybe love was never meant to last the way we tried. Maybe holding on too long is how we say goodbye. And I don't regret the moments or the way it felt so real. I just wish it didn't end with something I couldn't heal. I stayed even when you didn't, but I won't stay here again, in a place where love is fading and I'm the only one left. And I'll carry all the memories, but I won't carry the pain. I stayed even when you didn't, now I'm walking away. I stayed, but now I'm gone. I kept pretending it was fine, even when it wasn't. Stayed in conversations that didn't feel like us. I thought if I just waited, it would feel like before. But nothing really changes when you're already gone at the core. I stopped feeling the moment, things started falling apart, like I was watching someone else lose their own heart. I stayed longer than I should have, in a place that wasn't mine, holding on to something that was already declined. And I don't even I stopped feeling pain, I stayed longer than I should have, in something that never stayed. The silence doesn't hurt now, it just kind of exists. Like I'm floating through the pieces of what I used to miss. Even memories feel distant, like they belong to someone else. I'm here but not really here, just a shadow of myself. I thought I was still trying, but I wasn't anymore. I was just existing behind a closing door. Stayed longer than I should have, till nothing felt like loss, just a quiet kind of ending I didn't even cross. And I can't tell the difference between gone and still here. I stayed longer than I should have and disappeared. Maybe this is what happens when you don't let go in time. You don't break all at once, you just slowly lose your mind. And I don't feel angry or even really sad, just empty where the feeling used to be so bad. I stayed longer than I should have, and I don't know why I did. Maybe I was waiting for something that never lived, and now there's nothing left to lose, nothing left to say. I stayed longer than I should have, and I'm okay. I stayed, and then I didn't feel it anymore. We started like a story that didn't need an end, like time would always wait for us to find our way again. But life kept moving forward in ways we couldn't change, and slowly all the closeness turned into something strange. I thought if I just held on, we'd find our way somehow, but I was holding on to then while losing you now. I stayed until I became a stranger in a love I used to know, standing in the same place, watching everything let go. And I kept calling out your name, but it didn't feel the same. I stayed until I became a stranger to what we became. We stopped talking like we meant it, started speaking just to speak, and every word between us felt quieter, incomplete. I didn't see the distance until it filled the room, like we were still together but already through. I tried to fix the silence, you learn to live inside. And somewhere in between that, we both started to hide. I stayed until I became a stranger to the way you used to feel, holding on to memories that didn't feel real. And I kept chasing moments that were already gone. I stayed until I became a stranger while you moved on. Maybe we were right, just at the wrong time. Two hearts out of rhythm trying to align. And I don't blame the ending or the way it had to be. I just didn't know how much it would change me. I stayed until I became a stranger, but I'm learning how to leave, even if it means letting go of who I used to be. And I won't keep standing still in a love that couldn't stay. I stayed until I became a stranger. Now I'm walking away. We were something, just not forever. You stopped asking how I was, like it didn't matter anymore. And I kept answering anyway, like I was before. I noticed it in small ways, the way your voice would fade, like I was talking to a memory of the love we made. I stayed where you stopped caring, like I didn't know the truth, like if I didn't move at all I wouldn't lose you. But silence filled the spaces where you used to be, and I kept holding on to something that stopped holding me. I stayed where you stopped caring, even when it hurt, even when I felt it breaking in every single word. And I kept pretending there was something left to save. I stayed where you stopped caring till I couldn't stay. I think I knew the moment, but I didn't let it in, because losing you slowly felt easier than this, than standing in the ending and calling it what it is. So I stayed inside the silence and let myself exist. I stayed where you stopped caring, but I'm learning how to leave, even if it takes everything that's left of me. And I won't keep waiting for something that won't start. I stayed where you stopped caring, and it broke my heart. Still gone. I kept believing it would change, even when you stopped trying. I held on to every word while you were slowly deciding that there was nothing left to fix, nothing left to say. But I was still holding on in every possible way. I thought if I just stayed here, it would come back to life. But I was the only one still trying to survive. I was still believing while you were done, still building something already gone. And I kept calling it love while you were moving on. And I didn't see the ending that was already there. I was still believing while you were done, breathing in empty air. I started losing track of me inside of all this noise, trying to find a version of your disappearing voice. But every day it faded a little more away. Well, I was still pretending we had something left to say. I thought ever meant forever, but forever doesn't wait. It just leaves you standing in a different state. I was still believing while you were done, holding on to nothing real, trying to make sense of the way you stopped to feel. And I kept rewriting reasons to explain what I ignored. I was still believing while you were done behind a closed door. Maybe I didn't want to know what I already felt, that I was the only one still left inside myself. And I don't blame your ending or the way you walked away. I just wish I knew the moment you stopped trying to stay. I was still believing while you were done, but I see it now so clear. Not everything we hold on to is something meant to keep near. And I won't keep pretending there's something left to find. I was still believing while you were done. Now I'm learning to leave it behind. Still gone. Still fighting. I kept trying to fix it, even when it broke again. Like I could hold it together if I just tried to bend. You were already leaving in ways I couldn't stop, but I kept pushing forward long after it dropped. I thought love meant fighting, no matter what it cost. But I was just holding on to something already lost. was still fighting a losing love, like I didn't see it fade, like every step I took toward you was one you never made. And I kept calling it hope while it was falling apart. I was still fighting a losing love with a breaking heart. Standing in the silence you left behind for me, trying to find a reason in what we used to be. Every word feels empty, every memory unclear, like I stayed too long in something that disappeared. I thought effort meant something, that it could make you stay, but you were already gone before you walked away. I was still fighting a losing love, even when I knew that I was the only one still holding on to you. And I kept giving everything to something that won't return. I was still fighting a losing love, and I'm the one who burned. Even knowing it's done, I was still fighting a losing love with nowhere left to run. I was still fighting a losing love, but I'm letting go tonight of everything I tried to save that was never mine to fight. And I won't keep chasing what I can't become. I was still fighting a losing love. Now I'm finally done. Still fighting. Now it's over. You looked at me like maybe there was something in your eyes, but every time I held on to it, it slowly passed me by. I thought I saw a future in the way you said my name, but I was just imagining a feeling you never gave. I kept reading every moment like it meant something more, but love can feel so real when you're the only one it's for. I was still hoping for a different ending, one where you would stay, where every almost turned into something that wouldn't fade. And I kept holding on to a version you never showed. I was still hoping for a different ending while letting you go. I stayed inside the silence, hoping you might speak, but you were never searching for someone like me. I Try to make it simple, try to make it true, but love doesn't change direction just because you want it to. I thought if I was patient, you might finally see, but you were never looking in my direction, not for me. I was still hoping for a different ending, even when I knew that every step I took toward you was pulling me from truth. And I kept building something that was never really there. I was still hoping for a different ending in a love we didn't share. If I could rewrite the story, I'd change the way I feel, but loving you was never something I could heal. And maybe that's the lesson I was meant to find. Some endings don't change, no matter how you try. I was still hoping for a different ending, but I'm learning how to see that not every love you feel is meant to be. And I won't keep pretending there's something left to save. I was still hoping for a different ending, but this is where it stays. I was hoping, but you were never mine. We talked about forever like it was something real, like we'd outrun the struggle if we just learned to feel. Counting every dollar like it was counting time, trying to build a future on something undefined. I thought we'd make it through this every heavy day, but you were already drifting before you walked away. You left me in the middle of forever, with nothing but the weight of promises we couldn't keep, and dreams that came too late. And I'm still standing where we started, trying to understand. You left me in the middle of forever with empty hands. The nights feel a little colder when hope is wearing thin, and every quiet moment feels louder from within. I still hear your laughter in places we once knew, but survival doesn't wait for someone missing you. I thought love would be enough to carry all this pain, but some things fall apart when life won't stay the same. You left me in the middle of forever while I was holding on to every piece of something that was already gone. And I keep walking through the days like you might still be there. You left me in the middle of forever without a care. Maybe forever was too heavy for hands like ours to hold. Maybe life had other plans we couldn't control. And I don't blame the leaving or the way it had to end. I just wish forever was something we could spend. You left me in the middle of forever, but I'm learning how to stand with everything you left behind still heavy in my hands. And I'll carry all the pieces, even if they don't fit. You left me in the middle of forever, but I'll survive this. You said this was an ending, just a space between the lines. Like distance wouldn't change us, just stretch a little time. We talked about the future like it was still in reach, but every call felt shorter than the silence in between. I held on to your words like they were still alive, but promises don't travel well across this kind of time. You left me with half-finished promises, words that never found their way. Like we'll be fine and just hold on. Got lost between the days, and I'm still standing in the middle of everything we planned. You left me with half-finished promises, I'm still trying to understand. Your voice feels like a memory, even when you call. Like you're already somewhere I can't reach at all. I try to hold the pieces of what we used to be, but distance keeps rewriting what you mean to me. I thought love could carry what time tries to erase, but some things fall apart when they don't share the same space. You left me with half-finished promises, and I don't know how to close a story that keeps breaking every time it almost grows. And I keep reading all the messages like they might still be true. You left me with half-finished promises, and I'm still holding you. Maybe we believed in something the distance couldn't keep, or maybe love needs more than hope to hold it while we're weak. And I don't blame the miles or the way it pulled us apart, but it hurts to know forever couldn't survive this far. You left me with half-finished promises, and I'm learning how to let go of everything we almost were, and everything I'll never know. And I won't keep waiting for words you didn't mean. You left me with half-finished promises that still live in me. packed your things in silence, like it didn't hurt to go. Left the door half open, like you didn't really know. And I stood there in the moment, with nothing left to say, watching everything we built just slowly walk away. But you forgot something you didn't take with you, all the nights, all the feelings that still feel true. You left without taking your memories, now they're all stuck here with me. Every laugh, every promise, every piece of what we used to be. And I can't escape the echoes of everything we've been through. You left without taking your memories, so I'm still holding you. Your voice is in the hallway, even when you're gone. Like the walls remember what we built for so long. I see you in the details, in places we would stay, and every little reminder still carries your name. I tried to let them fade out, like you faded too, but memories don't leave the way people do. You left without taking your memories, and I don't know what to do with a heart full of moments that still belong to you. And I keep turning back time, and everything I see, you left without taking your memories, and they're still haunting me. If I could give them back to you, would it make this easier, or would I still be standing here, wishing you were here? I don't need your reasons, or the way it had to end. I just need a way to live without you in my head. You left without taking your memories, and I'm learning how to breathe with everything you left behind, still holding on to me. And maybe one day they'll fade, like the love we couldn't keep. You left without taking your memories, but they didn't leave me. You left, but you're still here. It's always in the quiet, when everything gets loud, when I remember all the things we never figured out. I lie awake pretending that maybe you'll come back, but truth keeps getting heavier in every empty track. I try to reach you softly, but you were already gone. And I was still believing we could still hold on. You let go before I could fix us, before I had the chance to hold the broken pieces and make them last. And now I'm here in silence, where your presence used to be. You let go before I could fix us, and it's killing me. The ceiling feels too close now, like it's pressing on my chest. Every thought I try to bury just refuses to rest. I replay every moment like I could change the end, but love doesn't wait for healing when it's already spent. I thought time would slow you down, give me something to say, but you're already leaving long before that day. You let go before I could fix us, and I never saw the fall. I was still trying to save it while you lost it all. And I keep calling your name into nothing that replies. You let go before I could fix us, and I don't know why. Maybe I couldn't fix it, no matter what I did. Maybe some endings happen before they're even lived, and I don't blame your silence or the way you disappeared. I just wish I knew the moment when you stopped being here. You let go before I could fix us, and I'm learning how to breathe with everything I couldn't save still holding on to me. And I won't keep reaching for a version that won't stay. You let go before I could fix us, and I'm okay. Too late, too quiet. It's always in the quiet, when everything gets loud, when I remember all the things we never figured out. I lie awake pretending that maybe you'll come back, but truth keeps getting heavier, and every empty track. I tried to reach you softly, but you were already gone, and I was still believing we could still hold on. You let go before I could fix us, before I had the chance to hold the broken pieces and make them last. And now I'm here in silence, where your presence used to be. You let go before I could fix us, and it's killing me. The ceiling feels too close now, like it's pressing on my chest. Every thought I try to bury just refuses to rest. I replay every moment like I could change the end, but love doesn't wait for healing when it's already spent. I thought time how you lost it all. And I keep calling your name into nothing that replies. You let go before I could fix us, and I don't know why. Maybe I couldn't fix it, no matter what I did. Maybe some endings happen before they're even lived, and I don't blame your silence or the way you disappeared. I just wish I knew the moment when you stopped being here. You let go before I could fix us, and I'm learning how to breathe with everything I couldn't say still holding on to me. And I won't keep reaching for a version that won't stay. You let Didn't know the last time would feel like any other day. You didn't say you were leaving, you just slowly slipped away. And now I'm holding moments I can't give back to you. Every word I never said feels louder than the truth. Thought there would be time to fix what we were in, but time doesn't wait for where we've been. You made me feel like an option, like I could wait my turn. But now there's no tomorrow, nowhere to return. And I keep reaching for you in places you won't be. You made me feel like an option, now you're gone from me. I replay all the distance and the way we used to talk, how I let the silence grow instead of breaking through the wall. If I had known the ending was closer than it seemed, I would have held on to you like you were everything. I thought love could pause and come back when we tried, but life keeps moving even when we're not ready to say goodbye. You made me feel like an option, and I stayed anyway. Now I'm left with all the moments I can't replay, and I would give forever just to hear your voice. You made me feel like an option, now I don't have a choice. I told you more when you were still around. All the things I buried that I can't say now. And I don't blame your leaving or the way it had to be. I just hate that forever came so suddenly. You made me feel like an option, but I would choose you still. Even in the silence, even in the still. And I'll carry every memory of what we used to be. You made me feel like an option, but you meant everything to me. Too late to say it, but I I still feel it. I thought I could fix the silence, fill the spaces in between, but every word I gave you didn't mean what I believed. I tried to be the answer to questions you never asked, and I kept holding tighter to something that couldn't last. I didn't see the distance until it was too far. I was reaching for your heart while losing who I was. You made me hold on to nothing, and I didn't let it go. I kept calling it love, even when it didn't show. And I blame myself for breaking what was never really strong. You made me hold on to nothing for far too long. Far too long. I replay every moment like I could change the end, but all the ways I tried to love you just pulled us further into something unspoken, into something unclear, where I kept chasing meaning that was never there. I thought if I just stayed longer, it would finally feel right, but I was losing pieces of me, trying to keep you in my life. You made me hold on to nothing, and I called it something real. Built a world around your absence, and taught myself to feel like I was the one who ruined everything we could have been. You made me hold on to nothing, and I let it pull me in. Maybe I held on too tightly to something never mine. Maybe I was too afraid to read between the lines, and I don't blame your leaving or the way it all went wrong. I just wish I saw the truth before I held on this long. You made me hold on to nothing, but I'm learning how to release every piece of what I carried that never gave me peace. And I won't keep rewriting what was never meant to stay. You made me hold on to nothing. Now I'm walking away. Nothing, but I held on. I used to chase the morning like it owed me something real. Every step I took was burning with everything I'd feel. I had a list of answers to a future I could see, but somewhere in the distance it stopped belonging to me. I kept running after nothing. It It kept slipping through my hands, and I didn't see the ending of the plans I had. You took my heart without a warning, from everything I tried to be. It left me standing in the ruins of who I thought I'd be. And I keep looking at the pieces of a dream that couldn't stay. You took my heart without a warning, and it faded away. Now the nights feel heavier than the hope I used to hold. Every almost feels like something I never got to know. I thought success would find me if I just kept pushing through. But some dreams don't wait for trying, they just quietly lose you. I thought I was getting closer, but I was standing still, watching everything I wanted disappear at will. You took my heart without a warning, and I didn't see it break. Every path I thought was leading was a choice I couldn't make. And I'm left here with the echoes of a future that won't stay. You took my heart without a warning, and it slipped away. Maybe not every dream survives the weight of time and doubt. Maybe losing what I wanted was the only way out. And I don't blame the falling or the way it came undone. I just wish I knew the moment it stopped becoming one. You took my heart without a warning, and I'm learning how to see that not every broken vision was ever meant for me. And I won't keep chasing shadows of a life I couldn't save. You took my heart without a warning, but I'll find another way. A dream without warning. We used to fill the quiet with things we couldn't fake. Now silence feels like something I don't know how to break. Your name still finds me somehow in places we would go, like every little memory still refuses to let go. I thought time would soften what I still feel for you, but time just makes it clearer what I can't undo. You turn love into silence where your voice used to be. Now every quiet moment feels louder to me, and I keep hearing echoes of what we used to say. You turn love into silence, and it never went away. I scroll through old reflections like they might change the end, but every frozen second just brings you back again. The way you said my name still lingers in my mind, like something I can't reach anymore, but I can't leave behind. I try to move past it, but it follows me around in every empty space where you're no longer found. You turn love into silence, and I don't know what to do with all the words I never said. Still waiting here for you, and I keep replaying moments like they might still be true. You turn love into silence, but I still hear you. Maybe silence is the only way love learns how to end. Not with words or broken lines, but where voices don't extend. And I don't blame the distance or the way we came undone. I just hear you in the silence when the day is done. You turn love into silence, but it still lives in me, in every quiet heartbeat, in every memory. And I won't try to erase it or pretend it's gone. You turn love into silence, but I still hold on in the silence. You're still here. We had something unfinished, something we could have grown, but you treated every moment like it was already gone. I was building something real from the way you said my name, but you were always halfway out before I could explain. I thought we had time to figure out the rest, but you chose an ending before we had a chance. You walked away from what could have been, like it never mattered at all, like every dream we almost touched wasn't worth the fall. And I'm still standing in the middle of a life we didn't live. You walked away from what could have been, with so much left to give. I see it in the silence that followed after you, like every word unspoken was something we outgrew. You didn't fight for something that I was trying to save, and I kept holding on to hope while you walked away. I didn't see the moment you stopped believing too, but I felt it in the distance growing between me and you. You walked away from what could have been before it had a chance, like love me in its place. Maybe we were something that scared you more than me, or maybe you just didn't see what we could be. And I don't blame you leaving or the way it had to end, but it hurts to know you walked away from what could have been. You walked away from what could have been. And I'm learning how to see that not every almost love becomes a memory. And I won't keep rewriting what you chose to leave behind. You walked away from what could have been, but it still lives in my mind.